Bambu Lab have disrupted the market with their successful X1 and P1P 3D printers. Some folks don't like that Bambu Lab are mostly closed source, but not completely, because today we test a community fork of their slicer by SoftFever. You can always trust the 3D printing community to take something open source, invest time and effort, and make it better. Bambu Lab have one part of their ecosystem that is open source, the slicer, named Bambu Studio. True to form, this has been forked and expanded by SoftFever. Today we check it out, comparing settings and testing performance not only on Bambu Lab printers, but on those from Creality and RatRig too. If we head to the Bambu GitHub, we can see that there's two repositories. One of them is for the app, and that's basically empty. The repository for Bambu Studio, the slicer, however, is fully open source. And that's because it has to be, being based on SuperSlicer, which was based on Slick 3R or Slicer. Being open source on GitHub means that other people have forked it, and we can see at the current time of recording, there's 102 forks. A fork is when someone copies the code base to make their own modifications. You'll notice in the center, however, that many of these forks are sub-forks of a version created by SoftFever, which is what we're going to be testing out today. Scrolling to the README will give a brief overview. This is a modified version of Bambu Studio with additional features and compatible with more 3D printers. To download, we click the link through to releases, come to the latest release, which is currently version 1.4.4. Scroll to the assets and click to download the zip for our operating system, in my case Windows 10. Inside that zip file is a folder, and nothing really needs installation, we just need to copy that folder to a directory of our choice. Once we've done that, we can go inside and see that there's an executable file that will launch the app. This will initiate a setup wizard, exactly the same as the vanilla Bambu Studio, and for now I'm going to skim through because you can access all of this later on. If you intend to send print jobs to your machines via Wi-Fi, you'll need to install the network plugin. This only takes 30 seconds, and the only other thing we need to do to get set up is to log in with our Bambu Lab account. However, this is only needed if you're using a Bambu Lab printer. So far, the same setup as the vanilla version, but what differences can we find inside the program? So when it first opens and you log in, you'll notice it looks pretty much the same apart from a bit of a teal color compared to the green color of the vanilla version. Let's come up to our printer selection. In the original, we have support for the Bambu Lab printers, as well as an Ender 3, and then a couple of different models of Vorons. Whereas in the forked version, we have all of these printers, plus the Anker M5, Anycubic 4 Max Pro, Sidewinder X2, Ender 3 V2 CR10 Max, two Prusa models, RatRigs, Snapmaker, and the Tronxy X5 SA. And reading the release notes, it looks like other printers are being added regularly. The interface for the most part is identical, but we do have a few additional options when it comes to slicer settings. Whereas the original slicer only has one setting for the scene position, the SoftFever version has 5. In the advanced section, compared to the vanilla slicer, we have a few extra options as well. And this trend continues for each slicing section. Many people might not touch these extra settings, but if you're someone who likes to really tweak, you'll appreciate having the extra options. One noticeable change to support other printers is beyond the vanilla slicer having acceleration control, the SoftFever version has additional options for this as well as jerk control. Our final slicer settings section, which comes from editing the filament values, once again shows that there's a few extra options on the SoftFever version. For some parts it looks like there's more, but the layout is different, making the section look longer. None of these additional settings are going to be make or break for your print quality, but it's nice to have them for those who like to tinker. One significant difference comes along the top bar. Whereas on the vanilla version we have undo, redo, and then blank. On the SoftFever version we have a calibration button, which we'll be exploring in more detail later on. You might be wondering, can I switch from the vanilla version to this fork easily with my Bambu Lab printer? Our first scenario is if we have a Bambu Lab printer already, using the vanilla slicer, can we instantly switch over to this SoftFever fork? To determine that, we need some test prints, and I chose this print in place collider cycle. Designed by Acoras, it doesn't take too long to print, but is still a great test for overhangs, clearance, and overall print quality. I sliced a version in PLA using the vanilla slicer. This is on the X1 carbon using the textured PEI plate. I was also using the AMS with my filament in slot 3. Once this print was done, I sliced the same model in exactly the same way using the SoftFever fork. The only perceivable difference was an increase in print time by 1 minute, as everything else was the same, including sending the job wirelessly, and integration between the slicer and the printer, where like before, we can view the webcam feed, see print progress, and have the printer talk to the slicer to determine what filaments are in the AMS. So how did the two prints compare? Let's have a look. Here is the version sliced in the vanilla version of Bambu Studio. As you can see, it's a little bit tight, but loosens up as I start to rotate the design. The SoftFever version is more or less the same, perhaps a little bit looser straight off the printer. Ultimately, both of these had sufficient clearance and quality to work effectively. Observing the print quality side by side, I would have to say they look identical, because they're based off near identical profiles. No problems yet, so let's see how easy it is to use with a non-Bambu Lab printer. As we saw earlier, the SoftFever fork supports more than just Bambu printers, including rat rigs, and I built a VCore 3 300mm version previously on the channel. Therefore it's convenient to tick this printer from the selection and see how well this slicer can handle it. The rat rig doesn't have an AMS, so the first thing I did was reduce the spools of filament back to 1, and then I saw that a range of filament profiles had already been set up. If we like, we can click to customize this printer profile. All of the printer dimensions are already correct, so you shouldn't need to make any changes there. So perhaps the most valuable thing you can do is edit your machine's start and NG code to match what's in your existing slicer, but for this test I chose to leave everything as is. The other thing you can do is to click the Wi-Fi button and enter the IP address of your printer. For a clipper printer, you can leave it on Octoprint even with fluid or mainsail. What you should now find is that if you click the device tab, it will load the web interface for your printer as if you had entered the same IP address into your web browser. I think this is a simple but really convenient feature. Time for some print tests, and as a baseline, I sliced the same collider cycle in my regular software SuperSlicer using all of the same profiles I normally would. And using these regular settings, this print completed in 1 hour and 22 minutes. And as I would have hoped, the parts moved freely and looked pretty good too. This is a well-tuned printer, so how will the SoftFever fork handle it? Selecting this printer will give us a range of pre-made profiles, but before we can use them, we need to make sure our printer supports G2 and G3 commands, as the Bambu slicer will use these by default. If your printer runs Marlin, you can check in configuration_ADV in the section called Arc Support, making sure that it's defined, which it should be by default. For Clipper, there's a section of code that we can simply copy and add to our configuration, mimicking some Marlin-based G-code and ensuring compatibility. I pasted in this section of code to the end of my printer configuration, saved and restarted, and my setup was done. I then sliced the model, matching the amount of infill and wall loops, as well as turning off the brim, but otherwise leaving everything else on default to keep things comparable. Just like with SuperSlicer, when I came up to print, I had the option to upload directly to the printer and commence the job. Switching to the device tab, I could see that this was successful and the print job was commencing. So far, the rat rig integration was quite seamless. So how did the SoftFever print compare? The first thing I noticed is that although some of the parts would move freely, I couldn't get the model moving well enough for a complete rotation. But then I noticed on the underside that one segment of the model hadn't printed properly and this had fused that joint, probably my fault for leaving a greasy fingerprint. Comparing the two in terms of quality, the underside and all of the overhangs look equally good on both, and the top solid infill probably looks a little bit nicer on the SoftFever version. However, the simple reason for this may be that the SoftFever version took 20 minutes longer to print, so things were moving a little bit slower, which generally can help quality. SoftFever Bambu Studio was able to complete this great print with 0 modifications to the inbuilt rat rig profiles. Remember, I didn't even change the start and NG code. So what about printers that are not officially supported? How about a Creality Ender 3, modified with an Omnia Drop extruder, a machine I've dedicated to printing flexibles. In the printer selection, only the Creality Ender 3 version 2 is there, but I ticked it anyway. It still has the same print dimensions and firmware, So my setup was limited to inserting my start and end G code from my regular slicer and also porting over my retraction parameters. This machine is running Octoprint, so I pasted in the IP address and API key, and like with the rat rig running Clipper, when I switched to the device tab, it loaded the web interface as if I was in my browser. One thing I struggled with was selecting TPU as my filament of choice. Even though I had it ticked in the filament selection dialog, it still wouldn't show up on the list of available filaments. I switched back to vanilla Bambu Studio, enabled the same printer, enabled the same selection of filaments, but the same thing happened. There's clearly something I'm not understanding. If you know what it is, please let me know in the comment section. Back in SoftFever, I opened up the PLA setting and set it to TPU, before copying over some of the settings from the Bambu Lab generic TPU profile, including the max volumetric speed, which will limit the speed this filament prints at to ensure reliability. I saved the Modify PLA profile as a generic TPU profile and got ready to print. Just like with Clipper, you can upload directly to Octoprint and have the job start. I had recently printed this exact model on this exact printer with SuperSlicer, so I already had a nice baseline for comparison. And this is one example where the highly tuned profile was comfortably ahead of what Bambu Studio had by default. The surface quality was definitely not as clean, on top of the stringing which was quite prominent. Not perfect, but still a reasonable baseline. Finally, let's try the inbuilt calibration. The inbuilt calibration is best suited to printers like the Bambu Lab P1P, which doesn't have the X1C's inbuilt LiDAR to automatically tune flow rate and pressure advance. Normally for the P1P, on the device tab we would connect to the printer, and then we have the option to set our pressure advance K value for that particular roll of filament. The first thing the SoftFever version adds is a box to tick for Enable Pressure Advance, where we can directly input a K value to be applied when the file is sliced. In this section we can also input the flow ratio. Regular Bambu Studio gives us no way to tune these two values, which is why the calibration section on SoftFever is so handy. So if we come up to calibration, we can see that the two current tests are for flow rate and pressure advance, but we should start by clicking on Tutorial. This will load a web page where everything is explained really well, including animated diagrams, and these instructions will always be more up to date than my video, so you should follow them, but here's what they currently entail. Firstly, you need to have the printer, bed type and filament all selected, and then come up to the menu and select flow rate pass 1. This will load some items on the bed, which we can slice and then send to the printer. Each item is going to be a variation with either more or less filament than your current flow rate. And when they're done, you're going to inspect the surfaces. We can see that 20 is over extruded, whereas -10 and below has gaps in between the extrusions. I actually think 0 is the best for me, but for demonstration's sake, let's go with +5. The formula you need plus an example is written in the instructions. My old flow rate was 0.95. I'm going to multiply that by 100, plus or minus whatever result we went with, mine being +5, therefore times 105, and then divide that result by 100 to get my new flow rate. I can then paste that into the flow ratio section and save it ready for the second test. We then return to the calibration menu and select flow rate pass 2. When prompted, we can discard all of the old values, slice the new test and send it to the printer. Again, we're looking for the nicest top surface, and I think -5, my original value, was my favorite, so I went back to 0.95 in the slicer. But assuming you have a different value, there's another formula here for you to compute and save to your filament profile. Now the pressure advance calibration, which we again select from the top menu. We have a choice between direct drive or Bowden extruder, and then a choice between a tower or line method. The line method is very quick, but the tower method is probably a bit more reliable. I'll start with the line method, hit OK. Nothing will be displayed until you slice the file, in which case you can see it's just like Marlin's pattern and you're ready to send it to the printer. Just like Marlin, we have a series of lines with a fast acceleration and then deceleration. Each line is extruded with a different pressure advance K value. The instructions explain that we're looking for the most consistent line, and in their example, there's clearly a line that has less blobs and thin sections. For me, however, with black filament on a black base, it's almost impossible to tell them apart. But this is the filament that I use on this machine, so I guess I'll try the tower method instead. So this time from the menu, the only change I'll make is to set tower, which as you might expect will generate a tower where the pressure advance K value is changing for every layer. This print took a tad over half an hour for me, but even with dark filament the result was clear. You should see on one corner some bulging and on the upper corner some extrusion breakdown, and what you're looking for is a sweet spot in the middle. We then measure the vertical height of this sweet spot from the base of the model, in my case approximately 24mm. On the instructions we have another very simple formula. For direct drive this is going to be 0.002 times the height that we measured. For Bowden it's just going to be 0.02. This gave me a new K value of 0.048. On the device screen, we can set this for the current roll of filament, or as I did, we can tick the box for pressure advance, enter the value there, and then save this profile with the name of the specific filament. This is receiving frequent updates, so I currently don't see any downsides to using the SoftFever version, so I'll be sticking with it. I should also mention that the Bambu Handy mobile app is independent and works equally fine with either version. Hopefully I've shown that it's easy to hit the ground running with this fork of the slicer, yet there is room for growth if you want to get into the fine tuning. So thank you SoftFever for your work. If you're planning to give this a go, let me know in the comment section below, whether it be with a Bambu Lab printer or perhaps one from another brand. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy experimenting with new slicers for your 3D printer. G'day, it's Michael again. If you liked the video, then please click like. If you want to see more content like this in future, click subscribe and make sure you click on the bell to receive every notification. If you really want to support the channel and see exclusive content, become a patron. Visit my Patreon page. See you next time.